everyone, it's K-Red, and this week we are enjoying moms. We're going to celebrate moms, we're going to think about moms, and we are going to do a Mother's Day card. Last year I did a Mother's Day card. I'm going to put a link in up above so that you can take a peek at it if you'd like. But in that card I explained that my mom has passed many years before, and everybody's relationship with their moms is different. So let's take some time and just doodle. So as I started to make this card, I was trying to decide what I want to do on a blank piece of paper. It's always a little bit hard to start. So if you struggle with that, you are not alone. This ruler, we'll talk a little bit about why I love this ruler, is clear. And that way I can line up, I don't know if you'll see it on camera, but I can line up the pink middle line with my dot. And then I can line up each end with the paper, and that will let me know that I'm straight. It's not going to be perfect. Nothing I do is perfect. Moms have never required perfect. I don't think they're going to start now, but it will be good enough. And I'm giving myself just a little bit of a line in there. I am not great at making letters, so I had thought about making mom. I may not go back. I may go back to that line. I may not. But instead, I decided to just write love. And the truth is, well, some of us may have moms that are missing or maybe shouldn't be celebrated. And that is true. That is a truth. And then there are some people who are blessed to have moms who are everything. And that is beautiful as well. But for today, rather than just celebrating moms, although I certainly want to do that as well, let's celebrate the love that all moms should represent and that we can all strive to be, no matter who we are or no matter what we have to love, whether it is people or children or strangers or flowers or plants or animals. Mothering is without a doubt something this world needs. Caring and nurturing and being taken care of. I have found that some of the best ways of getting out of a funk, of feeling better about myself, finding a way out of the spiral of sadness or loneliness is not by finding somebody who can love or take care of me, but finding people who need the love I have to give and the energy I have to share, however much or little that energy is. So that is what I'd like to celebrate this Mother's Day, the love, caring, nurturing that moms give. So what I've done is I've tried to take a little bit of time to maybe make letters that I don't completely hate. Not easy for me. Like I said, I'm not very good at being able to see something in advance and knowing how it will look. So I have trouble telling depth and perceptions, and is it long enough, or is it too short, or is it the same, or is it different? Where should I put this line to make it like that line? Those type things. So that's something I struggle with. That's okay. We all struggle. Just kind of work through it with a pencil till at least it's at a spot that I'm okay with it. And although I'm still not loving my L, probably just over a little too much. My spacing is off a little. Spacing between here and here, and the spacing between here and here. But that too is okay. And sometimes love is imperfection. So that, I think, is what we're going to do. So I've done some letters. I'll do some doodling inside those letters. I like the idea of an imperfect love. That, for some reason, is appealing to me today. So let's add up here. I'm going to add it in pencil because I'm not 100% sure I'm going to want it. But I may even want the word imperfect on it. So there could be an imperfect love, and that is worth celebrating. So let's see where we should go from here. So at the moment, I'm struggling with what I want to do on the inside of this, these letters. So what I thought I would do is I'd get out my pack of Peaceful Patterns and take a peek and see if maybe there is something that I would think would be cute on here. And I came across this one right here. It's called 3 Loops 6. And I'm thinking that it might be cute. I'm going to go ahead and take this out of my ring. My table's at a little bit of a slant, so if anything has any weight, like the little metal clip on here has a weight, it'll slide. And so I'll leave that there as my example, but I'm thinking that it might be incredibly cute to do this portion of it just all the way along the top line and then all the way along the bottom line here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you how I'm going to do it. So then, of course, that means I'm already erasing my imperfect love. But that's okay. That's why there's pencil. So we can decide what we want the card to look like and how we want the card to look. So the way you do this, it's called 3 Loop 6. It's by Mina Histeo. Hopefully I said that correctly. Probably not. And the way you do it is you start with just a loop. And then you do 2 more for a total of 3, hence the name 3 loops, and then a number 6. And I'm right up against the edge, so it's a little tough. And I'm going to do my 6 so it has a knob there, and I'm going to put a knob at the bottom of mine. So I'm going to skip over a little bit, and we'll see how my spacing works. And we're going to do another one. So what I like to do sometimes, and since I'd like this card to look nice, I'm not giving it to anybody. Maybe I'll give it to my sister. I do so adore her and love her. And she is an amazing woman. And on Mother's Day, that is a great day to celebrate love and women. I'll do a second line, and that will help me know if I've gone up high enough. And on that one, I have it. That line's not there to judge me. That line is just there to help me. And I'm going to make all of these going the same way. And I'm going to be fine if my 6 dips down a little bit. I don't have any problem with that at all. So I'm going to skip over a little bit again. I have my pencil line to help me. Of course, that made my loop much larger, but we'll keep going. And the 6. So all right. This is going to take just a moment. During editing, I'll probably fast forward this, put on a little bit of music. Happen to be enjoying Jelly Roll at the moment, so maybe I'll put on a little bit of country rock, and I'll be back after we do the 2 rows. All right, everybody, so just to pop back in here for just a quick second so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I did the top row. I decided I was going to do some little flex down at the bottom. I was a little concerned about doing them with this 05 pen. I thought it might be too thick. So I went and I picked up an 01 pen, and I didn't really like it. I think it's a little too soft. So I'm going to go back and do maybe just like 1 or 2 of the darker pen. And I do like that better. And then on these, I'll go ahead and I'll do 2 or 3 in each one with the darker pen. So on this one, I thought I would like it with a lighter pen, but it turned out I did not. And all I'm doing is at the very bottom, I'm flicking up at varying lengths and pressure, starting with the pressure down, and then definitely picking up on a flicking so that it's gradually gets lighter as it goes. And that's the top row. So okay, back to some music, and then we'll do the same thing on the bottom. But I'm going to flip it upside down so there'll be mirrors. All right, but first, I almost forgot, let me see what length I did that. Probably didn't even pay any attention to where I was placing it before. So now we're ready to get started again. All right, I like it. That turned out super cute, I think. So now let's go ahead and make a commitment with our letters. I'm going to grab a 12 pin, a super thick one. I'm going to do a quick little test on a piece of scrap paper. Okay, the pin is a little old, so I wanted to make sure that it would still work well. I'm going to resist the urge to get a ruler, and make the line exact, and just be happy with imperfection. Now, as I've been drawing these, listening to a podcast, I've been thinking about what I want it to look like, what I want it to be. And, sorry, having trouble talking and drawing at the moment. And what I decided is I'm really looking for something a little more simple. I am thinking, notice I decided not to go all the way to the top to kind of let that have its own space. I just decided that. I just think that I want it just to be a little bit simpler. I think sometimes when I draw, I feel like every spot has to be covered. Everything has to have something, and it needs to be all complicated, and it's got to have 50 steps. And gosh, I'm not convinced that's true. So I'm going to try to do this one just maybe a little bit easier. So the first thing, I'm going to erase those lines, but I want to give that ink plenty of time since it's thick to dry. And I think in the center here, I'd like a flower of some sort. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of a base. And I'm going to give myself some petals that kind of descend down in size. I'll probably give them the same little lines at the bottom, like 3 or 4 little lines at the bottom. That has a little bit of space. I'm back to my 05 pin. The decision I'm trying to make is, do I want an aura on the outside of the flower, or do I want to leave it open? I think what I really need to do is erase my pencil. Sometimes I don't even see the pencils anymore. In fact, this card is a great example. On this one, I gave myself a little line here, and I left it in. That line disappeared to my eyes so much I forgot it was there. But other times, like this one, the lines are just, pencil lines, are just all that I see. And so I'm going to take a moment and erase them. I'm going to erase them on the bottom one. I'm going to leave that top one because I don't think I'm putting anything up there. I think I want it to be open, but I want to give myself that option. So I'm going to hold off on that. But for this, I want them gone. So let's see where we're at now. All right. I can't decide on the aura, so I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to. So let's go ahead and do a quick little aura over it. Being very purposeful with my lines and my drawings. And there, I'm not sorry I did it all. That looks just fine for me. So we're going to do something like that on that. And what if in the V, should probably have some idea of what I'm going to draw here, but I really don't. Often when you're making a card, you may want to have a general idea of what you're going to do before you start. But this is my imperfect love card, so I'm going to be okay with that. I think I'm just going to put a pretty little lace, some little half circles. So remember I said you should have an idea? I started to do some lines. I was just going to do some lines through it, but then I thought it really would be neat to maybe just do some auras, but I've already started with the lines, so we'll keep with that. Let's go ahead and just do it kind of like we did inside the V. Okay. Now for the O, I think what I would like is something floating, because I really don't want, so let's do this. Let's do a circle here and a circle here. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to do an easy, lazy way of having these circles be somewhat evenly spaced. By no means they needed to be exact, but because I would have had struggled to do that otherwise, I did the set top and bottom, left and right, and the center, and now I can do one more in the approximate center of each. And it's just kind of a cheat. And then what I'll do is one of my favorite things that I always do, which is this S shape to connect them. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I definitely have some signature tangles that I always go back to. And this is without a doubt one. You know what would have been cute is rather than having this black line out here, to have the O be just made by this. That would have been cute. That's okay. So then for this one, let's take off on that theme. But instead, we're going to do these little flowers that will connect with the stream. Now, I know that I will look at this card at the end and I will think, wow, did a child make this? I will be critical of myself. I will think that there could have been better. But I will not allow myself to be guided by that, and I hope you don't either. I hope you don't wait to do something until you're good at it. That you find joy in the process. What's that saying? You have to do something 10,000 times before you're an expert at it. I'm not quite at 10,000 yet. And when I look online, I will see people who are at 10,000 without a doubt. And that's awesome. I think that's beautiful. And their work is phenomenal. But it's okay that mine's not. And it's okay that I am not phenomenal at yet. And how about a little order in life, right? I do like things that follow a pattern. Sometimes when I'm doodling, I purposely try to be as abstract and chaotic and unstructured as I can. But sometimes there's just a comfort in things, oops, that was way too close, in things that just look similar. So our L and our E have the stripes. Our insides have some flowers. Let's add 2 or maybe even 3. 1, 2, 3 little petals on these. I don't know if this is a mistake, But I liked that that was a flower, and I felt lacking that this one wasn't. So I didn't want to turn them into an actual same flower. So I thought I'd add just some little petals along the outside line. I have a super fine #1 pen, so it makes that nice and easy. And it's basically just that shape of the 3 loops in a 6, or 3 loops 6, I think it's called. We'll add just a little bit of a loop and a flare to it. So now the question that is playing in my mind, because I always like to talk to you all about my thought process, and I'd be honored if you share with me some of your thought process. But now I'm starting to think, well, what do I want? Do I want to do color? To me, that helped. I like that that gave that just a little bit more of a whimsy. And let's give this another line. There we go. So I feel like they have lines in common. I feel like the center has the circles. I like those on there. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Try and decide what more I want or don't want. Do I want to add color? My husband always loves my cards that have color on them. He always thinks those are the best. My husband is almost always right. So let's see what we can do. The colored pens that I use are a Maui Siri brush. I bought them last year. Oahu color markers, and they are a dual tipped, so on one is fine, on the other is the more of a felt, and I have grown to really like them. So let's do this card in blue. I never use blue, so that will give me something different. And let's start by making the stripes blue. I like that. I'm trying to take my time. I'm using the thin end and not the thick, because I would like to, and if I zoom in, I don't know if you can see it. I can barely see it here. The black line is still there on the outside, and I may come back in with a thicker pen and do a nice black border on that. We'll see how I feel. I think I want to keep it consistently blue across. So the next thing I will probably do in blue is the circle. And the decision I'm trying to decide is, do I want it solid, or do I want it with a hole, or do I want it just half? So what I normally will do is do it I don't mind it half like that, kind of like a 3/4, with leaving just a little hole. I'm going to try to leave it so that hole stays towards the center, and so it'll actually rotate as the circle goes around. Kind of covered it up there, but that happens. So we'll let that have the blue there. Not sure what blue I'm going to do in this one. I think for this, I probably will do the center. Then how would it look if I just did some blue lines? It would look like I didn't color the whole thing very well. That was a mistake. And then I'm afraid that if I do the whole thing, so this is the part of the project where I think, okay, now you've ruined it all. It's going to be ugly now. And I have to fight through those emotions. But they're pretty strong right now because I don't like that at all. I don't like that I missed my shape. So I might make it a little bit larger so that it still looks a little bit like a flower. I just realized I never switched to my reader glasses, and that will help me be able to see a little bit better. And yeah, I'm not real thrilled with that. But let's see. I do have some white jelly roll. Let's go back to my scrap piece of paper. Where did it go? And get it. You have to, with the jelly roll pins, get them going for a little bit first. And then what if on the middle? Now for me, the way I usually do the jelly roll is I try to do it so that it has plenty of ink, and I do it almost in layers as it comes out. So there, we may save it yet. And we can give it a nice nope, don't like that. We're going to stick with just a circle in the middle of them. So I'll go through those, I'll color in blue, and then I'll get my jelly roll and come back and do white. So I might even, on these, make sure that these whites have a nice amount. And on this one that was lacking a little, I can go ahead and go back and give it a little bit of extra. And that way I have that consistency. That's good. I kind of just like it when I tap it on. It comes out nice and white. Gives it almost like a dimension. So I will come back and I will do that. I will try not to have to overcorrect them too much. And then on this one, I'll do the blue lines again. So let me go through and do that. We're going to go ahead and go back to the podcast, and I will be back once that coloring is done. Alrighty, so what do you think? What I decided to do on the flowers is alternate it so that they go kind of in the corner. It got messed up a little bit. But over here we have the light blue because I colored it blue and then went over it with the white, and then the solid white. And that's what I mean about don't letting yourself get beat up. It's not perfect. Nobody's going to look at this card and put it in a museum. But a mom would look at this card and love it. And I look at this card and I love it. So now I'm trying to decide, what do I want to do with those flowers? I don't want them all blue. I know that. I've seen the error of covering a flower all blue. I don't think I'm going to want this line, so I'm going to go ahead. Let me get this eraser. And I'm going to erase the top line. Looks like it's left a bit of an indent. I probably was a little bit heavy-handed on it, but let's erase it on the other end. It definitely helped me make them all the same size, and I appreciate that. They are by no means identical, but they do kind of flow, and I like the way they float on there. And I do kind of want just a little bit of color on the edge. So what I'm thinking, so I'm going to go back to this blue. I'm going to take a larger piece of scrap paper, like this. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to give myself a ruler. How much? Let me grab a pencil. How much space should I do it? Do I want just that much? That's kind of a lot. Let's do maybe half that. Let's do half that because we can always come back and double it. So I'll try to do a little bit of a lighter line. And then I'm going to do another one. Just tried to barely let the paper touch. I'm going to go ahead and keep my ruler here, and that will hopefully also help keep my line straight. And let's see, straight. I believe that is. And let's just do a solid. So I'm going to give myself a good lead in. Oops. So, all right, so much for the line giving me a nice solid. So let's go back to the fine tip point. Go up a little bit higher with the line. The ruler idea, I don't know if maybe I wasn't holding it tight enough, or maybe the ink just isn't right for that, but that did not work the way I had envisioned it. So we'll give it just a little bit of a free hand. I put a piece of paper under it just so I don't get blue on my table. I almost wish this was being done in pencil because I'm not going to be a super big fan of the lighter and darker sections, but in the end, I think that will be okay. So we're going to do the same here. I'm going to go a little bit bigger because remember I had to go bigger last time because of the ink going higher than I thought it would. I'm going to give myself a nice solid line. I'm not even going to bother with that. Now the trick to these is that I try to move my arm at the elbow and not at the wrist. Turn your pen if your point flattens out a little bit. Also means you're probably holding it down just a little too hard, so go ahead and let up a little bit. Nice and soft on the paper. You don't have to push hard with these pins. Alrighty. I'm going to let it dry before I fidget with it too much because sometimes the variance in the color can be because one ink is wet and the other ink is dry. So don't be too hypercritical yet. And we'll see where that ends up. Now I do see that I have some white spots up here that I missed. And I didn't see them until it hits there. Same thing on the bottom. Go. One more bottom over here. Alrighty, so now what do you think? What should I do? There is a piece of me that wants blue in these somehow. But that same piece of me does not know how to get it. Leave me a comment. What would you do? Would you put blue in them or would you leave them as is? My temptation is to come in on the bottom and just do a blue. I'm going to do it. Oh no. A blue, and you can't even tell. point in doing it. I'll go ahead and do it to all of them, just because I started. But I don't think that you can really tell much of a difference. The bottom one's a little bit more, maybe. Just let there be just a faint bit of blue. At the bottom. Yeah, that works for me. I think that's the card. A little bit busier than I envisioned. But yeah, if you wanted, you could go along and do something here and here. But because I told myself to try to keep it simple, I am not. And that's it. To the moms out there, we do the best we can. We love the most that we can. And we hope that that's good enough for those we love. For the people out there who need some mothering and some love, I'll be sending some out to you. I hope you all can find some joy as we celebrate either the mothers we have, the women who have stepped up in our lives, whether it's sisters or aunts or grandparents or the neighbor or the teacher, the lady at church, the neighbor down the street who have loved us and looked out for us. Today's the day we celebrate them.